Welcome back to my channel, everybody. My name is Michael Yoo. I'm a first-year dental student at Western University in Pomona, California, and this video is a follow-up to a previous video that I've uploaded. In that video, I spoke about an opportunity I had with the officer recruitment here at Western University, and how my classmates and I got to talk about a lot of different topics that I thought may pertain to you as a pre-dental student. Something that came up frequently during that meeting was different mistakes my classmates and I made during undergrad, and things that we wish we would have known as well. So with their permission, I've gathered a bunch of these things that you'll see in this video, and I'm hoping that they help you navigate your way through college and hopefully into dental school. So with that, let's talk about the mistakes that my classmates and I made in undergrad. This first one comes from a classmate. His name is Phil. He says, "My issue was that I took on a lot of responsibilities throughout undergrad, and because of it, my GPA suffered." This is a huge one because I did the same thing. I was a part of Korean Student Association. I think it's called CASA down in the lower 48s. But I ended up spending way too much time with that group. It was fun. It was a lot of fun and we hung out a lot. But in the end, I was always thinking that my extracurriculars were going to outshine my GPA and ultimately help me get into dental school. But one big thing about dental school applications is they put it through an algorithm, and if you have lower than a certain GPA or DAT score, they won't even look at your application. So definitely good to stay on top of your GPA and put classes and your GPA above anything else. This next one is from Monica. She says, "I felt a big mistake I made was not asking the right people the right questions. Seek good mentors and people to really guide you. I was asking the wrong people and they couldn't offer any good advice to me because they just didn't know." On that note, Triston said something similar. Triston has his own YouTube channel. I'll be sure to link to it at the end of the video and in the description below. What he said is, "For me, it would probably be that I wish I knew more about my pre-health advisor and the department. It would have helped me a lot instead of having to find things out on my own by Googling. I wasn't aware that there were pre-health advisors on his campus. I might have gotten into dental school earlier if I used that opportunity. I didn't know I needed to take the DAT until after I graduated. I thought we just applied to dental school." And I couldn't agree with Triston more. Definitely seek out those opportunities, seek out those advisors, be able to pick their brains and ask the right questions, especially because some of them have gone through this whole process with other students as well. Next one is from our class president. Her name's Seema. I asked her, "What was the biggest mistake that you made in undergrad?" And she said, "Let me narrow them all down to one." Like all of us, we made a lot of mistakes, but she did narrow it down, and she said that her biggest mistake was not applying early enough. Everything else was there, it was just that she didn't apply early, and it made the biggest difference her second application around, because during that first week she got an interview, and I think she was actually, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Seema, I think she was one of the first ones that got accepted into our class in December 1st. I know that AADSAS does this thing where they open up in mid-May instead of June now, and literally there's no excuse for why you can't. Actually, there are a lot of excuses, but there aren't that many excuses for why you can't submit it in early June. And since every single school is rolling admissions, it is crucial that you take advantage of those few extra weeks to get all the materials together, letter of recommendations, personal statement, DAT, everything together so that you can be ahead of the rolling admissions. Alright, so this last one comes from Brian, one of the 3 Brians in our class, and he said, honestly, the hardest part for him was in undergrad and was learning how to study. In high school, everyone followed a set schedule and really just did whatever the teacher told them to do. In college, the dynamics of school completely changes since you're the one in charge. All the biology majors at my college had no assignments, just 1 to 2 midterms and a final. So if you're falling behind and not keeping up with the material, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Understand why you are not doing well and set aside time to actually do independent studying. I couldn't agree with him more. Again, I was from Anchorage, Alaska, and I didn't have any study skills because the public education system, we can talk about that more, but definitely understand your priorities and make sure that you're keeping up with your classes. And if you don't know the necessary study skills, seek out the ones that actually do. Ask your friends how they study. Ask the #1 student in your class how that person studies. Usually it's like a question girl or a question boy. Ask them how to study, and also seek out the the learning academic centers because they have tutors there in order to help you. There are a bunch of resources, you just need to seek them out. To end off the video, I want to leave you with some advice that my classmates gave me for pre-dental students like yourself. A general thing that came up with every single classmate I asked that question, what was your biggest mistake in undergrad, was that they didn't regret any of it. They didn't regret any of the mistakes that they made, especially because it set them up for different opportunities in the future. A lot of us ended up doing post-bac programs and master's programs, and I know that's something that you probably don't want to hear as a pre-dental student, to take an extra 1 to 2 years in order to pursue this passion of yours, but ultimately, if you are passionate, that's the thing that you're willing to do. Another thing that came up with this theme of regret, or rather not regretting, was that it gave them the ability to think back on their mistakes and learn from them. And ultimately, it allows us to help pre-dental students like yourself. We want to usher in a different generation of dental students and help facilitate that through these videos. So if you have any questions, please let me know. This last advice comes from 2 Brians in our class, Brian, my roommate Brian, and Brian, the one I previously spoke of. They generally talked on the topic of time management. Once you're in college, you are really learning how to become an adult and learning how to manage all these new and hard classes. Finding out that schedule will be crucial to your success in college. And I wanted to end off with something that previous Brian said. He said, understand why you're not doing well and actually set up time for independent studying. None of those studying with my friends but talking for 15 minutes every hour. I definitely should have avoided some of those study sessions. Also find a good study group that allows your whole group to be proactive. I never really group studied until the last year in college, and I wish I started earlier. Also understand your priorities and commitment as a student. It's definitely important to keep a balance between academics, social life, but if one is overtaking the other negatively, you definitely need to rethink your priorities and figure out what needs to be done. This is especially important in your 3rd and 4th year once you realize dentistry or any other profession is your passion, because you don't want to be idling, wasting all your resources as a student at a college campus. It's hard to find those resources after you're graduated. If you know dentistry is your passion, why wait? You should start now. I can't say it better. I'm going to leave with that. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below.